All right, let's talk about something that can drive pretty much anyone crazy, the silent treatment. You know, it feels like a weapon, right? Like a punishment, this deliberate, cold act. But what if there's a whole other side to the story? Let's get into it.
So let's just start with this one big question. What if that wall of silence you're facing isn't designed to hurt you? What if it's actually a sign of something completely different, something chaotic, happening inside the other person?
And look, before we go any further, let's be real. Being on the receiving end of silence is awful. It's frustrating, it's confusing, it can be incredibly hurtful. I mean, it's a total communication breakdown that just leaves you guessing, and that is a really tough place to be.
I'm sure you know exactly what this feels like. The cold shoulder. You send a text, and you just see that it's been read. You try calling, and surprise, it goes straight to voicemail. It's like this unspoken law of silence takes over. It's just this heavy, quiet weight in the air that feels like it's screaming a message. But what is that message, really?
Okay, so here's where we need a major shift in how we think about this. What if this whole behavior isn't an attack at all? What if it's completely defensive, like a guard standing post?
To really get this, we have to talk about a pretty core idea in psychology called a defense mechanism. Now, this isn't something you choose to do, like picking out what to wear. No, it's an automatic, unconscious thing your brain does to protect you from things that just feel like too much, especially anxiety. And that right there, that reveals everything. The silence isn't a sword meant to attack you. It's a shield. For some people, a direct, face-to-face confrontation is so completely terrifying, so filled with anxiety, that their mind's automatic reaction is to just shut down. It's a last-ditch effort to avoid a situation they feel totally unable to handle.
So, let's pull back the curtain. What is actually going on inside the person who's gone quiet? Because the difference between what you see on the outside and what's happening on the inside, well, it can be absolutely staggering.
This really shows you the two completely different realities happening at the same time. On the outside, what do you see? You see a cold, maybe even smug, poker face. But inside, they're wrestling with intense anxiety. You experience them refusing your calls, and it feels like a personal rejection. But for them, they're just so overwhelmed they literally can't even process a conversation. You see that law of silence as a power move, but for them, it's just a symptom of a paralyzing fear of confrontation.
Now, this internal state of high alert, this anxiety, it can't just go on forever, especially if that person is being pressured to just act like everything's fine. There's a breaking point, and what happens then is something you would never, ever guess from that calm exterior.
I mean, just imagine that for a second. You are already drowning in anxiety, and now someone is pushing you, trying to get you to talk, to act normal, to pretend nothing's wrong. The pressure is just building and building.
And all of that immense pressure can lead to something really unexpected, a furious rage building up on the inside. It's the anger of feeling trapped by their own anxiety and trapped by the expectation to be someone they just can't be in that moment. And all of that rage is completely hidden behind that wall of silence.
Okay, so we have all this new information. What do we do with it? Why does understanding this idea of a silent guard actually matter in our real lives and our relationships?
So let's just quickly recap the main points here. First, and this is the big one, try to see the silence as a shield, not a sword. Remember that the motive is very often about avoiding their own anxiety, not about causing you pain. And always keep in mind that a calm exterior can be hiding a massive internal storm, which of course means that trying to force a confrontation can actually pour fuel on the fire and make things so much worse.
Because really, when we start to understand the why behind the silence, it can completely change how we deal with it. Instead of just banging on a locked door, we might figure out how to gently find the key. It just opens up a whole new way to communicate, one that's based on empathy instead of pure frustration.
And that's really the final thought I want to leave you with. Now look, none of this excuses the behavior or magically erases the hurt it can cause, but it does give you a new lens to look through. So the next time you come up against that wall of silence, will you just see a weapon aimed at you, or will you be able to pause and consider that you might actually be looking at a shield?